Hello, good day. Again, good to see you back. Hopefully it's good to hear me back. I haven't been too overwhelmed yet. Today we are going through the basic concepts in chemistry. There are terms you ought to know after this lecture or become familiar with. They're not the sorts of things right now that I'll be testing you on, but in order to understand the concepts that you will be tested on, you want to understand these terms. So again, these are just basic concepts. And this lecture is strictly to provide a little bit of background, a little chemistry background on the way we refer to substances. There are some important laws and some things you'll see that you might recognize from physical systems for those of you who took physical systems. I will reiterate during the lecture those parts that you want to write down and remember. Otherwise, most of this is just background, setting the tone for things that you're going to be learning in the next couple weeks, okay? So, with that, I'm going to move myself out of the way here. As a matter of fact, I'll get rid of myself. So when we talk about chemistry, and we want to know what is a chemical. A chemical is any substance that takes part in or occurs as a result of a chemical reaction. So, something produced, something going to be produced, something that was used to produce another something. Remember that all matter can be considered to be chemicals or mixtures of chemicals to some degree. So a chemical reaction, a chemical is any of those things: compound, pure substance, a mixture, homogeneous, heterogeneous. Any of those things are generally, in the most broad sense, they're called chemicals. Okay? Anything that can be combined in some manner of ways. So all matter can be considered a chemical or some mixture of chemicals. So a chemical reaction is nothing more than a rearrangement of the atoms such that when you end up with what you end up with is products. Differs from what you started with, the reactants. Okay, so the mixture of chemicals in the beginning are called reactants. They're reacting, they're coming together. The ones that you end up with in the end are called products. So let's look at the combustion of hydrocarbons. This is very popular. So gasoline is an example of a hydrocarbon. It's nothing but carbon and hydrogen chemicals. But when they combine, in the presence of oxygen, such as in your automobile, what blows out the back pipe is carbon dioxide, and you get some water. Okay, so these are what you call the products. Carbon dioxide and water are the products of the chemical reactants, methane and oxygen. So notice how we have the plus sign is kind of, in chemistry, at this case anyway, can be read as and. So methane and oxygen. Or you could say when you add methane to oxygen in some kind of chemical system, in a car or in a human body, reactions take place. The arrow means kind of like the equal sign, or yields, gives way to, right? So that's what produces. Maybe produces is the best term for us. But yield is the common term we use in chemistry. So methane plus oxygen, when in a chemical system, yields or produces carbon dioxide and water. All right? These would be called reactants, These would be called the products. So here's the chemical formulas, CH4. This is telling me there's 4 atoms of hydrogen combined with 1 atom of carbon. Don't worry about this right now. To be honest, like I said, this is just kind of basic, setting it up. In about 2 weeks, we'll be talking about this sort of thing, and this will make a lot more sense. But just for illustration, this is the formula for methane. G means it's a gas. Here's the molecular formula for oxygen. 2 oxygen atoms make 1 oxygen molecule. When these combine together, and this is also a gas, they yield or produce 2 other substances. One substance is carbon dioxide with 2 oxygen and 1 carbon, and the other is water, H2O, as a gas. That is, its vapor form. So you get a lot of gas from these 2 gases. Why would these ever mix? It just depends on the scenario. You can force these to react to get these products, again, whether this be sometimes in a beaker or whether it be in a combustion chamber, carburetor. Okay, so just giving examples of how to read chemical reactions. What that might physically look like, if we let these balls represent the atoms, carbon would be the one atom, black, and hydrogen, there's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, plus the oxygen. I told you oxygen will have red circles here, and there's 2 of them. This is an oxygen molecule. So these come together, and in the right system with the right amount of temperature added, okay, you can yield or produce carbon dioxide. So you have now 2 oxygen bound to the 1 carbon. Clearly these are not to scale, but oxygen is bigger than carbon. So this would about look right. And so there's carbon dioxide, and that's what it looks like. The other molecule produced, we have to answer for these hydrogen. Where'd they all go? Well, we made 2 water molecules, H2O. So you might notice right now there's a principle. Whoops, I didn't want to show you those numbers yet. So you might notice already that we seem to have tweaked the system. Well, how do we get 3 red circles when there were only 2? And how do we get only 2 white circles when there were 4? This is referred to as, we got to balance the chemical equation. So if this represents the formula for how to produce, say, CO2 and water using the combustion of a hydrocarbon, we have to account for all the methane, all the oxygen, and all that's produced. And I'll give you this law here in a second. So in reality, there's never just 1 molecule of oxygen, 1 molecule of carbon dioxide, 1 molecule of water. It's a whole mixture. So there's what you call a ratio. In other words, so many oxygen are needed to produce so many carbon dioxide, and vice versa. So now, this is where in the formula we can tweak the numbers to balance it. So I see I'm going to need 2 water and 2 oxygen. Why is that important? Because this gives us now 4 oxygen to work with. And from the 4 oxygen, meaning oxygen atoms, 2 oxygen molecules. So 2 times 2 is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to have 1, 2, 3. Now we need and can use that other oxygen down here. And look, now we have our 2 other hydrogen, the problem we had earlier. So all of our hydrogen is used. So hydrogen is equal on both sides of the equation. And our oxygen is equal on both sides of the equation. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is this balanced? Does this account for all the atoms in this chemical reaction? Let's see. Carbon, there's 1 carbon here. Only 1 carbon here. It looks like we're pretty good. This would be a balanced chemical equation. So in reality, we could represent it without these numbers here, but this would be the full chemical reaction, and we'd read it just like this. For every 1 molecule of methane, we need 2 molecules of oxygen in order to produce 1 molecule of carbon dioxide and 2 molecules of water. And when we count up all the atoms, we are balanced. We have not lost anything, we have not gained anything, we've simply rearranged the participants of this chemical reaction. So here's one more example of sodium and water. Sodium is Na. We'll see this next week. We'll start looking at these atomic symbols. Water is H2O. This is a liquid, this is a solid. So you have a solid sodium atom, and you have liquid H2O. We just saw that in the last slide. These two will react very violently, by the way. And some of you who may have been in a chemistry class might know a little something about sodium and water, but they react very quickly. When this happens, this gas, this is what's given off. And it's given off, if you know anything about hydrogen gas, it's very flammable, very combustible. And this is the product that you see in this reaction. It gives off an explosion. You can YouTube, and again, we'll probably see this later in the term, probably in about a week or 2. Actually 2 weeks, what happens when you mix sodium with water. So the hydrogen, separates from the oxygen, and the oxygen combines with the sodium, and we've rearranged this to form hydrogen gas, and AQ stands for aqueous. So it's like a liquid, but aqueous simply means it's in water. So this is sodium hydroxide, and this is in water, meaning there is water still in the environment. Okay, it's liquid. Liquid sodium hydroxide, but not pure sodium hydroxide. I apologize, I get bogged in details, and again, at this point, you don't need to know all the details. I just want you to get the illustration of what a chemical reaction looks like. So let's look at these and see if it's balanced. We want to make sure we didn't lose anything or gain anything. One sodium, one oxygen, two hydrogen, 3 hydrogen. Whoa, we know we didn't just pull a hydrogen out of the air. So how are we going to balance this? Well, if we give ourselves another H2O, and typically when we do this sort of thing, it can often start as trial and error. But let's just say we're going to need 2 H2O. Why? Well, we have 2 hydrogen here, and we only have 1 there. So we're going to need another hydrogen from this side. The way we do that is we add another water. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That's plenty of hydrogen now. But you notice we're going to have an extra hydrogen and an extra oxygen. So what do we need to do? Well, if we add 2 NaOH, what that does is it gives us now the freedom to say another NaOH. We have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So our oxygen and hydrogen are balanced. But now we have an extra sodium. Well, this is actually going to be pretty easy.
Garage door.
Because you can see sodium over here is by itself. And so all we have to do is what? That's right. Add another sodium. And once we add that other sodium, that's by itself. And now we have our 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We are balanced. Oh. All right. So what do we call this? The law of conservation of mass. We are conserving mass. So know that in any chemical reaction, and anywhere in the universe indeed, total mass of all the reactants must equal the total mass of all the products. Sometimes something can be given away, but we have to account for it. Here's an example you might see on the 4th of July with your kids. A simple reaction, the law of conservation of mass, where reactants equal the products. It's the dehydration of sugar with the addition of sulfuric acid. This attracts the water and it gives off a lot of gas, and this thing just kind of rises up. So during the chemical reactions, no measurable change in total mass occurs, but the density changes. Let's just look at the particle level, and this might be a friendlier slide than the last one. So sodium, water. Just spend some time looking at this diagram. I think it illustrates, and you'll see 2 sodium plus 2 water. It's no different than our shapes that we used previously. But this is what's happening at the particle level. And this is what's called a chemical reaction. Nothing is being lost or gained. They're simply doing what? That's right. Rearranged. They're simply being rearranged. So is there any change in energy associated with the chemical change? Yeah, generally there is. So what is that change? Well, it might give off heat, which does say in the system there's less of a sun. The electrons are given off. You can feel that heat in the reaction sometimes. Sometimes, like sodium and water, this particular reaction gives off a lot of light and a lot of in form of fire, because hydrogen is combustible. So you get light, you get heat, and you're going to get a nice little boom. Okay, so all 3 of those are forms of matter. Everything is matter. It can be seen, felt, or weighed. And so perhaps it's not easily noticed all the time, and at the micro level it often isn't, but you can always account for either the heat or the electrons. So taking small molecules and putting them together, usually in many different steps to make something more complex, is what happens. For instance, photosynthesis. This is a long series of chemical reactions, but it can be summarized with the initial reactants of sunlight, carbon dioxide going into the leaves, being absorbed underneath, and water. Those who had biology have studied this process, but how CO2 and water get into the leaf, intercepting light. The products are oxygen, glucose, and this is what we both use. This is why we need plants, and this is why plants need us. We give off carbon dioxide and water, right? So it's a beautiful world. Nothing was created or destroyed, simply converted from one form into a more usable form for us. All right, well, that's it. Hope you've enjoyed this brief run through. I know I got a little thick in the middle there. Beginning, again, the details of those reactions you don't need to know. Simply the idea of reactants come together to yield products. It's chemical reactions, nothing but substances, pure substances and mixtures recombining in different ways. Always either requires energy and gives off an amount of energy, and that can even be in the form of light or heat, or getting cooler. It could require heat and therefore become cooler or get darker. So we're going to go in now starting this next week with atoms and elements, and we're going to begin breaking down some of those things. Okay, have a good day.